What is up, guys? Welcome back to another debate episode on EI Entertainment Studios. So, without further ado, let's begin. Today's debate episode is going to be based upon Godzilla Earth versus Legendary Destoroyah. So, if you guys don't know how the debate works, so what we're going to do is we're going to focus first on the main opponent. So in this case, it's going to be Legendary Destoroyah. And then, so pretty much we're going to go over the backstory and then the characteristics, as in height, abilities, the territories, everything like that. We'll go over it one by one. And then we'll go over Godzilla Earth. And then we'll go to the fight in the scenario, who would be the winner. So, let's do it. So, I'm going to start off with the backstory of Legendary Destoroyah. Legendary Destoroyah is an adaptation of the original Destroyah. Legendary Destoroyah was created when one of Destroyah's aggregate forms survived the battle with Burning Godzilla. Alright. As it evolved over time and became a much stronger Destroyah than its last one, and ended up battling Legendary Mothra and defeating it. Later, Memphis transported Legendary Destoroyah onto the time of reign of Godzilla Earth for one of the biggest battles yet. Alright, so that's the backstory. I came up with it. So that's the backstory of Legendary Destoroyah. Now, the height of Legendary Destoroyah is standing at 295 meters tall. Okay, now the abilities, I'm gonna quickly skim over them, okay, and then I'll go over the other characteristics, and then we'll come back to the same abilities, and then I'll explain them one by one, go deeper into them, dig into them, and see what these actually are, because they're new than what the original Destroyer had, as it says in the backstory. So, without further ado, let's begin. So, abilities start from CO2 Creator Ray, Atom Splitter Ray, Telekinesis, and Horn of the Wicked. Alright. Aggression, yes. Legendary Destoroyah is very, very aggressive. Territorial, yes, and Biome is volcanic. Okay, so that's pretty much all the characteristics of Legendary Destoroyah that we're going to discuss today. Now, as I said, let's go back to the abilities and discuss them one by one, what they are. So, CO2 Creator Ray. Now, if you've ever taken a chemistry class or you know the formulas of the compounds, CO2 is carbon dioxide. So, well, to the knowledge of life, nothing can really breathe carbon dioxide except plants. Now, in this case, Legendary Destoroyah is going to be battling, in most cases, creatures that need oxygen. And CO2 Creator Ray is actually going to send in carbon dioxide into the opponent's lungs as a ray. So it can potentially choke, right? It could choke an opponent, which is a very, very strong ability to have. It's very useful. So that's what it is, CO2 Creator Ray. Next is the Atom Splitter Ray. Now, if you guys, again, this is another chemistry thing. If you split an atom, then you are pretty much sending a nuclear attack, right? It's a nuclear explosion. So every time Legendary Destoroyah uses this ray, it's like sending a power of a nuke to your opponent, right? The Atom Splitter Ray. Every time Legendary Destoroyah uses this ray, an atom is split in the ray, and it sends that type of force to the opponent. And it could be devastating for humanity. Also, Legendary Destoroyah has telekinesis, meaning he can actually make things move, his opponents lift up, or buildings move and hit without him actually touching it, with the power of his mind. So yes, Legendary Destoroyah possesses telekinesis. Now, finally, one of the most strongest ones is Horn of the Wicked. This is the ability that he has, and Horn of the Wicked would be the horn on top of Legendary Destoroyah. He can excrete a specific fluid that splashes onto his opponents. And what it does is it numbs the opponent for about 5 to 10 minutes. And when it numbs, that opponent cannot regenerate any abilities, as in, well, no, excuse me, let me rephrase that. Cannot regenerate any health, also cannot experience pain. So it doesn't know when to retreat back or anything like that, when to protect itself. So Legendary Destoroyah can keep on hitting that opponent, and that opponent is not going to feel anything. Could potentially kill the opponent because the defensive systems are not going to kick in. So that's Horn of the Wicked. So that's all of the abilities for Legendary Destoroyah. Now we're going to skim over Godzilla Earth really quick because Legendary Destoroyah is the main focus on this battle. But Godzilla Earth is the, we could say, the challenger, right? So Godzilla Earth is the opponent that that Destroyer Earth, Legendary Earth is the opponent that Legendary Destoroyah will be facing. And so we'll go over the abilities of Godzilla Earth. So Godzilla Earth, first of all, is the biggest at the moment, the biggest Godzilla, strongest Godzilla at the moment, standing at 300 meters tall. Now if you remember the the height of Legendary Destoroyah, well, he stands at 295 meters, only 5 meters shorter than Godzilla Earth. So it's a pretty close battle at this, right? Well, at least speaking height-wise. Anyways, so the abilities of Godzilla Earth stand from, he has Atomic Ray, or you could say Atomic Breath, as any Godzilla would have. He has a sonic boom coming out of his mouth, so he can actually use that. Instead of an Atomic Breath, he does have Atomic Breath, but he can also use a Sonic Blast, right? He has very armored plant material on his body that will protect him from a lot of stuff that opponents will hit him. It can protect him. Now also, he has regenerative ability. Godzilla Earth, when he was in his Phileas age at one point, did kill a lot of monsters. So Godzilla Earth is very, very experienced on battle. So he knows what he's doing, right? So that's a big, big plus on any kaiju that knows what they're doing, meaning they could potentially kill any other kaiju if they know how to kill other monsters. So yes. Also, he has the red spiral heat ray, which kind of leads into the nanometal. Now, if you haven't seen the second volume of Godzilla Earth, which is so first one was Godzilla Earth, Planet of the Monsters. Second one was, well, I quite forgot what the second one was called. But anyways, nonetheless, it was the second one, the second series. And because there's 3 parts to it, the second part, there's nanometal, and that's what is made to create Mechagodzilla City. And that nanometal that gets hit with Godzilla Earth, he actually becomes of a more Burning Godzilla descent, and he becomes very strong off of that. So he has that ability to become like, if you guys have seen Godzilla Unleashed, I've played Godzilla Unleashed, you know what I'm talking about. When you get enough crystals, the metallic crystals, Godzilla becomes into rage mode, and Godzilla Earth has that mode. That pretty much makes him invincible of anything. So he has that. And also he has a shield that he can protect himself with for a limited amount of time from almost anything hitting that shield. But once that shield stops, yes, he is vulnerable. Now, we went over Godzilla Earth, right? And we just went over Legendary Destoroyah. Now let's get to what everyone has been waiting for. What is that, you may ask? That is the fight. Now, what I like to do is I like to score it best out of 2 in these type of battles. And when I say best out of 2, we'll do one and it's solely based off of their abilities and scenarios of what these kaijus are put into. And I like to go far range battles and close range battles. So we'll go far range first, because it's less practical in a kaiju fight, and close range because it's more practical, as kaijus like this are going to go face to face in up each other's faces, battling to the death or until someone stands down. So let's begin with far range. Now in terms of this video, far range will say these two kaijus are about 500 meters apart. So it's a good deal apart, right? Okay. Okay, so let's go over one more time the abilities of Legendary Destoroyah, which are CO2 Creator Ray, right? Atom Splitter Ray, Horn of the Wicked, and last but not least, Telekinesis. And for Godzilla Earth, we have the Regeneration ability, Red Spiral Heat Ray, Nanometal Rage Mode, aka we can call him Godzilla Earth Descent, the Shield, and the Sonic Blast. Hopefully I'm not missing anything. I'm not no, I don't know. I think I went over everything for Godzilla Earth. Yeah, okay. So if we were to put these two kaijus at a far distance battle, as I said, 500 meters apart, now we have to keep in mind Legendary Destoroyah can fly. So that means he can fly around, potentially making Godzilla Earth tired of just following him around or making him go dizzy, right? That's one thing. Now also, again, this is going to benefit Legendary Destoroyah. He has Telekinesis, right? So he doesn't always have to come close to his opponent to inflict damage. Whatever he needs, right, he can actually lift Godzilla Earth from that distance of 500 meters tall, lift him and throw him around, keep on throwing him around. As I said, there is no limit of how much he can use Telekinesis. It's not like it's a recharging ability like a heat ray or anything. It's a, you know, it's an ability that he has in his mind. So he can actually lift Godzilla Earth and throw him around while he is flying. Right, and also as he is flying, he can use the Atom Splitter Ray, sending in forces of nuclear power onto the body of Godzilla Earth. Not only that, sending in CO2, potentially choking out the monster, and then sending out Horn of the Wicked, sending out that mist of venom in the horn that's gonna make him numb. It's not gonna hurt him in any way, but it's gonna make him vulnerable to not feeling pain, right? But let's always look on the other side of the party, Godzilla Earth. Now with all of these said, Godzilla Earth does have the ability to regenerate, but Legendary Destoroyah can oppose that with Horn of the Wicked. As I said, he can stop regeneration. So whenever Legendary Destoroyah does use Horn of the Wicked, Godzilla Earth cannot regenerate his health. Also, we are fighting in the land of Godzilla Earth. As I said, Memphis is the one who brings Legendary Destoroyah to this place. So there is nanometal there, so Godzilla Earth can go to rage mode and potentially strike down strike down Legendary Destoroyah's abilities. That is very, very possible. But I'm gonna have to say, right, based off these two kaijus and the abilities, that I think, right, again, this is my opinion. If you have a different opinion, leave it in the comment section below. But I think that based on the abilities, I think that Legendary Destoroyah will take the cake for far range. So I'm gonna give a 1-0 in favor of Legendary Destoroyah. So a 1-0 so far, right? And we are going to go at it with that. Now let's move on to close range. Right now, this is more practical in a kaiju fight. So, if they were to go face to face now, Godzilla Earth will take a 5 meters height advantage over Legendary Destoroyah, and I would say Legendary Destoroyah is more physically stronger than Legendary Destoroyah. Much more stronger physically, as it's Legendary Destoroyah is actually slower. He's big, he's fat. He's big and fat. Even though Godzilla Earth does look pretty big and chunky, he is very agile and he is very strong. So close range, that without any supernatural abilities, he can take Legendary Destoroyah down with the big punches and kicks that Godzilla Earth can produce. Now, this being in the land, now this is supposing that Godzilla Earth is smart. He's not gonna choose a stupid place to fight. I'm gonna say that at the spot that Godzilla Earth will battle Legendary Destoroyah will be when there's nanometal, and he will be in rage mode, which means he's gonna keep on hitting Legendary Destoroyah down with his strength, keeping him down, also using the nanometal rage mode will defeat this. Legendary Destoroyah has no chance in a close range battle with Godzilla Earth, so I'm gonna give 1 point to Godzilla Earth, but that's a tie. I don't like to keep it ties. So what does that mean? That means overtime. We are going to go overtime. Overtime means based off of the abilities. So so we're gonna go based off the ability. So CO2 creator ray, atom splitter ray, telekinesis, horn of the wicked. Comparing these to Godzilla Earth's abilities: regenerative ability, red spiral heat ray, sonic blast, shield, right? The atomic ray. Comparing these, I think that Legendary Destoroyah's abilities are a little bit more higher. So I'm gonna give a 2-1, making Legendary Destoroyah the winner of this battle. Now, if you do have other ideas, other ways, other outcomes, again, please leave in the comment section below. Again, this is just a debate. It doesn't mean it's gonna happen. It doesn't mean it's true. It's just my opinion. If you guys have anything else to say, please. But most importantly, request, guys. These are all requests. Request more fights, guys, and I will be more than happy to do a debate on them. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Leave in the comment section below what you guys want to see next and what you guys think the outcome is. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't. I would love to hear from you. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, guys, and as always, have a great day, guys. Thank you.